What's going on, friends? It's your boy Kai. Welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. Today, I have an incredibly special guest today. Is it Andrea or Andrea? I always forgot to ask. I forgot to ask before this.
It's Andrea, but I'm so delighted
Okay.
when people get so close out of the billions of names.
It's funny because I know a bunch of Andreas and I know a bunch of Andreas, and they all spell their name the exact same way. So I'm like, I need to make sure that I clarify. I need to
And
clarify. So I
half of them are
appreciate that.
men.
Named Andrea.
Yeah, it's a really common male name, Andreas in Germany.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. I'm gonna take your word for it because I have no idea. Uh, but this right
I could
here
be
is
making it up too.
no, that's fair. Listen, as long as we say it with confidence, people will just be like, "Oh, okay, sure." With me today, incredibly special guest, Andrea Fender, the owner. Another pronunciation thing here. I've been confidently calling it Sucreabeille.
That's awesome. Watching people struggle to pronounce it is both a personal sadistic joy, and I've decided it's a marketing technique. It's
What
a
is the
French
actual
word. Well, first of all,
Sucreabeille?
I'm not French, so if I say it, it will be wrong. So any French folks listening, I'm
Okay.
terribly
We just
sorry and
lost our
also not.
entire French audience.
But
They're all gone.
they're gone. There's like four of them. Sucreabeille is how we say it in the lab, or just often
Sucreabeille.
soup. Yeah, it means
That
sugar
makes
bee.
more sense. I've been saying Sucreabeille like a stupid American.
I've seen your videos, and I'm like, he's so wrong, and he's
But
struggling,
you
and this is
never
so much fun.
said anything. I asked, and
It's
you're
because
like, sure.
I love it so much.
So
I
it's
absolutely approve that. Please roll with that.
Sucreabeille.
Well, the rhythm of the mistakes was just a
Oh
delight.
no. Okay. Well, now I know. The owner of
Mm.
of the Sucreabeille, and Angie's journey into the world of e-commerce is not just about crafting unique fragrances. It's also a narrative of resilience, creativity, and breaking the mold in a digital economy often dominated by men and often dominated by people that are neurotypical. But both Andrea and I are both neurospicy. We both have a nice little ADHD funness happening within ourselves. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But before we get into that, Andrea, hi, welcome to the pod. How are you?
It's a delight to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, absolutely. I'm super excited because you and I we I'm gonna say met, but I put that in quotes. We digitally met. I guess this was what, last month. This was like early October, I would say. When we I discovered Sucreabeille, and we've been working together on a bunch of different projects and things like that, and it's been so much fun. And I got to tell you, like your fragrances, like your like scents and lotions and all that stuff. It smells so good. It smells so
Thank
good.
you.
That's so like so much fun because people send me stuff sometimes, right? And I'll just be like, oh yeah, it's great, right? And then I'll just gotta give it away. I've definitely kept like a bunch of the stuff that you've sent, and I'm like this. I'm going to use this in my real life.
Well, the truth is with anything like that, it's all arts, and
Mm-hmm.
not everyone is gonna like everything I make or other creators make, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the that's the thing that can really, it can be heartbreaking as a creator,
Mm-hmm.
because of course you're like, here's a tiny tiny piece of my heart, please love and
Yes,
accept me.
please like it,
but
please.
but that's also why I blend so much. Like, I'm
Mm,
so lucky to be able to spend as much time creating as I get to. And if
mm.
someone doesn't like it, I'm like, well, that's fine. We'll be
That's fine.
happy
You
to
don't
take it back. And I'm
right.
still making stuff, and I can't be stopped because my brain won't turn off.
I love
So
it.
okay.
I love it. So
Thank you.
just for the people that don't know what you do and what you sell, can you give like an overview of who you are and what you sell and what your company sells?
So I create fragrances. I have an online company. I've been running it about 5 years now, and we sell perfume mostly in the US. And Wow, what a pause. Look at my brain trying to, it's the ADHD. Like I'm
It's the
trying to tell you the
ADHD.
whole thing all at once. Like
I hear
here's
you.
every path my brain's trying to go down, and then I choke up because I'm like, here's 7 stories and I can't, that's not a word.
I almost choked. I almost choked because I related to everything you just said so much that it sent a convulsion through my body.
Did you ever listen to the Hamilton musical? And it's the
Have I
nonstop
ever listened to the
track
Hamilton
is
musical?
so my jam. I'm like, yeah, I can't stop. I
Do
don't.
you know what my
So
cat's names
there's a whole
are? My cat's names are
no,
named Hamilton and Burr.
no.
Yes, yes. So have I listened to the Hamilton soundtrack a couple times? A couple times.
Well, either keep all firearms out of your home or make sure that they don't evolve thumbs because man, cats.
That's true. That's true. And Jersey's very close, so and I'm gonna be in the room
Well,
where it
we're recording
happens.
with one of my cats on the lap, so yeah. So the point of the shop is, I think that to give a light of hope to
Hmm.
other neuroatypicals out there,
Hmm.
I did a whole bunch of different things in my life, and it seems to me that for whatever reason, setting up the company the way I did this one allows me to use a whole bunch of different, very disparate skill sets.
Mm,
And it's all firing, like it's all working finally. But
right.
it took a good chunk of my life of doing wildly different things,
Mm.
getting bored, panicking, leaving, reinventing my life over and
That
over
sounds
and
like a
over, which
normal
I
lunch break
also
for
think,
me. That's a lunch break for
yeah,
me.
right?
Go through all those emotions.
So I love sense. I love
Mhm.
trying new things. I love math and science. And the thing that happened to work with this company is it turns out I'm very good at being very, very loud on the internet, which I never knew about myself. I'm now 43, and it
Uh-huh.
was a couple years into running the company that I got my ADHD diagnosis. So
Mm.
it was so fun, like telling my team, like, I got this thing, guys, I need to let you know. And they're all just like, yeah, like I'm
It's like
having
we
this
could have told
huge
you that.
moment of sharing. And they're like, okay, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we know.
What
So
was
that
it
was
like?
fun too.
What was it like being so like you obviously were diagnosed as an adult, right? Which is something that I went through as well. And what was it like? What feelings were going through your head when you as an adult got diagnosed with ADHD?
I, I'm sure everyone's journey is different. I think
Hmm.
one of the things that started me down the path of figuring out, we all live, what Socrates said, we're all in a cave, and you don't know you're in a cave until you leave. And that's part of human existence. We live
Mm,
inside of ourselves. We don't know what's
yeah.
normal for others because of course it's perfectly normal. And this must be what other people experience.
Hmm.
And what really got me was on Reddit, there's a subreddit called ADHD Women.
Mm.
And reading the stories of hundreds of other women over and over, and like every single one, I'm like, oh my God, that's me. And then other women saying, I'm reading these stories, and oh my God, it's me. Like
Yeah.
that sense of community. And I never posted, I'm like so shy, like, oh my gosh, this is so intimate. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
And it was
it's
mid-pandemic.
really crazy.
And
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mhm.
yeah, the playbook is like, it seems like a
Yeah.
lot of people experience a pretty similar arc,
Hmm.
but women, it can be so different. And
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
being diagnosed because you're not necessarily running around or being a disruption. You're
Right.
just in your head, unable to finish projects, people telling you you're lazy. I am not
Yep.
lazy. I just
Yeah.
don't make enough dopamine
Yeah.
to manage my day.
Yeah,
So yeah, that I was
there's a lot of
afraid. I was,
misconceptions about ADHD for sure, especially for women, especially for women.
what's that? If you don't make your own neurotransmitters, store bought is fine. Uh, yeah. So for me, it was mid-pandemic, and I was
Yeah.
stupid lucky because I was able to do a video call with my doctor. I was in a parking lot. It was the only
Oh.
place I could have privacy because the company was in this tiny space and
Mhm.
in my house and out of my house. And it was like, okay, I'm in like a Safeway parking lot, and I remember telling my doctor before, she's like, okay, well, what's the purpose of our visit today? And I was like, listen, I'm really scared because
Oh.
I've been reading stories of women not being believed. So before I tell you
Mm,
what I'm pretty sure is going on, I need you to tell me, do you believe me or not? Because it doesn't matter what I tell you. You're going to believe me or you're not going to believe me. And I have no
mhm.
time and no patience to pay you to not believe me. So where are
Right.
we at? And she's like, I believe you. And I said, great, I have ADHD. She said, great, I need to ask you three questions. And I had a diagnosis and a prescription in 10 minutes, which I
Yeah.
know is not the normal arc, but
Right.
maybe it could be. And I didn't
Right.
need a psychiatric evaluation. I didn't need to go through a whole intense process. This was an
Right.
MD,
Hmm.
and this is Washington State, so that is legal here. I
Hmm.
don't know. I have no idea what each person's story is, but maybe it's way easier for some of us. And maybe some
Right.
people can step up and tell your doctor, here's what I've got, here's what I need.
Yeah.
And man, that first, my dose is so tiny. And the difference it makes is she tried to put me on the starting adult dose, and it was so high for me.
Hmm.
I was like, am I the only person that's ever going to call and ask for less Schedule One drug? And I did. And she's like,
I,
you're out
I
of your mind. And I'm like, I'm super sensitive.
I think to your point though, I think that the journey is different for each person. But the main thing that's similar for everybody is starting that conversation, right? With a doctor, with a mental health professional, with somebody that is able to take, this 30,000 foot overview of you and your life and then your situation, and is able to add some insight that you may not be able to provide yourself. So to your point, being able to just have that conversation in the first place with the professional can do wonders for you, because like you said, it's different for everybody. So I'm really curious for you, since you had already started running a business, how much did ADHD change the way that you ran your business?
Well, let me tell you. I think kind of the classic uh, symptoms, the getting very hyper focused and excited about something, and then suddenly losing interest in changing.
Hmm.
That's a big part of how the company is shaped. So I have, I'm insanely lucky to have a wonderful friend who's our full-time writer. So
Hmm.
every cent on the site also has a story attached. And some of those stories are a paragraph, and some of those stories are chapters in novels. We have several novels on the site. And then as we release a new fragrance within that collection,
Hmm.
Nicole writes the next chapter. And
Yeah.
I really wanted the site to have, I said, I want this to be a place on the internet where people can come for free and be entertained. There's
Yeah.
just too much that's just salesy, and that's not what I want. I want a community.
Right.
So then we built this community on Facebook groups where I'm just in awe. It is so supportive.
You have a big
Women,
Facebook family over there.
it's 19,000 people. I mean, it's
It's
bananas. I
amazing.
People tell us like I was about to cancel my Facebook, and then I realized I wouldn't have this group, and
Uh-huh.
people post about death and I've got this surgery coming up. Can I get
Yeah.
support? I think it's 98% women identified folks over there.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
one of the real keys to that is zero tolerance for assholes. So if
Mm-hmm.
somebody says something
Yeah.
assholey, we don't argue, like go away. And
As
we block
the
them and
word
move on.
assholey needs to be in the dictionary, because that's a fantastic word. Assholey. I like that.
People can be having a hard day,
Hmm.
but doing and saying things that you would never say to someone face to face is just, I hope that the
Hmm.
next generation figures out a way to get that not eye contact, but still recognizing the person on the other end is a human
Hmm.
thing. I'm
Yeah,
excited. I can't wait to see what the young folks now will make of this. But yeah,
absolutely.
Facebook groups has this ability to build community that I don't really see on Instagram or TikTok as much. People,
Hmm.
I don't know, it seems like it nests. It's literally like
Yeah.
technical, like they can nest threads better. Oh, that's
Hmm.
another thing. So here, hi, ADHD. I really love tech.
Yeah.
I ran Linux for years. I
Hmm.
love the backend and building sites. The current version of
Yeah.
the site was designed, which was fantastic. But I'm
Hmm.
still like in it and like trying new apps, and like occasionally I
Yeah.
can fix something that someone else couldn't fix.
Right.
I
Right.
love efficiencies. So we figured
Hmm.
out as a team how to get from an order to get that order out the door here, and just kept figuring out like, wait, why, like, does this step matter or do we need more of this step? How do we
Right.
get it
Right.
done quickly and well? And that's
Yeah.
really hard. So from
Hmm.
the ingredients coming into the lab to me
Hmm.
blending things to those blends turning into like, how does that liquid get into a bottle? How do we get
Right.
the labels? We develop these incredible networks and communities.
Yeah.
Our local printer prints 98% of what you see
Yeah.
on the
That's
site. He
amazing.
bought a
Like,
UV coater for me because, well,
yeah.
you can't UV coat unless it's on a roll. We weren't using rolls. I mean, he's the best.
I'd love to read some of the names of the scents that you have because I think that they're fantastic, right? And this is just I'm just on one page here, just the classic scents here. And I'm going to read these off so the listeners and the viewers know what kind of people, what kind of brand we're dealing with here. So like how creative they are. So like I'm just gonna read that again. There's a whole line, various different lines, but I'm gonna read from the classic sense here. So you have one called "I Come from a Long Line of Terrifying Women." That is the name of it. You have Sea Hag, you have Sea Glass, you have Beekeeper's Daughter. Byzantine, Old Soul, Don't Be a Lady, Be a Legend, Cup of Ambition, Whispering Black, Papa's Waffles, Frozen Moon, Larceny, Stink Pretty, Compass Rose, Xanadu, Always Darkest Before Dawn, Rainbow Bridge. These names are amazing. How do you and your team come up with the names of these
it's
fragrances?
it's I really would say 90% I feel like I dream it. Like, don't be a lady, be a legend is like around. You see it on the internet once in a great
Yeah,
while. So I'm sure some of this is low brain, like popping into the forebrain,
right.
but during sleep. Um, it's one of the reasons I started using Slack because we were using
Mm-hmm.
Facebook Messenger as a team when we were tiny. And I
Yeah.
was like, hey, when y'all aren't on the clock, go ahead and mute this because I am going to hammer this. And like, I don't want anyone to do unpaid labor, like get your
Yeah,
sleep, get
yeah,
your awesome time off. But 3 a.m., they'll get a
yeah.
like, goth as fuck. Let's do that. That's our number one bestseller. And I
Is
think
that the
that was
number
a
one?
suggestion.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that was a
Yeah.
suggestion on the group. And I come from a long line of terrifying women is something I
Hmm.
say a lot because I, in fact, come from a long line of terrifying women. So I can't remember what it was
That
ages ago. Somebody was like, we can't do that. People on the internet will be mad. And I was like, oh,
people on the
well, I
internet are
come
always
from a
mad.
long line of terrifying. Oh, they're so angry. I feel
But like to
really
your
like,
point though,
I just want to hug them.
I don't. They can get hugs from
Okay,
somewhere
fair.
else.
I
That's fair.
I don't have to look at them as much as you do.
That's
I think
fair.
I think
That's
folks
fair.
who are awful on the internet are often struggling in ways that are
I
heartbreaking.
agree. I try to help as many people as I can, but some people just don't want to be helped, and I can't do anything about that. So that's on them at that
Yeah, what are
point.
you gonna do?
But to your point, like when you're talking about coming from a long line of terrifying women, one of the reasons that I also wanted to talk to you today is being a woman in a male dominated e-commerce world. So on top of you being diagnosed with ADHD as an adult, you identify as a female, as a woman. What is that like? What kind of, you know, issues and situations have you found yourself in that you felt that you were at a disadvantage maybe?
That's such an interesting question. I think, I suppose, first of all, I made it a point to hire women first.
Mm,
We have had men who run other companies that I've contracted
mm-hmm,
through in the past, but largely I have found that when I hire other women, things just go better.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's me, and I don't know if that's
Mm,
because I'm a woman, but I just fired several different ad companies that were supposed to
mm-hmm.
make beautiful commercials for me. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is embarrassing. And so
Yeah.
I went off for a weekend and made 10 ads that kick ass. I sent you those
Yeah.
ones where we took
Yeah.
the one
Yeah. They're
star
great.
reviews off the site. And I
Yes.
was like, oh my God,
No,
you are
those are great.
so funny. And I was like, thank you for publicly posting. You are
Yeah.
hilarious. And we like now I'm God, they could be writers. They're so good. Somebody said it smells like literal poop and flowers. And I was like, okay, well, at least it smells like flowers. And now that's an
There you
ad that
go.
I just
There you go.
can't get over her. She was fantastic. So yeah, I think a disadvantage, I guess I was raised in a different way. My mom ran
Hmm.
a company for 30 years. Her mom ran a
Hmm.
company for 30 years with her
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mom always encouraged me to make good, solid business decisions and not
Mm,
be worried about what people thought. So
hmm.
I guess I think something that can put me in a disadvantage is sometimes I believe the sales pitch.
Mm,
One of the things I've put in place to save myself from my own excitement and trust of people, because I like people. So I'll get hit with a
mm,
really cool sales pitch, right? And what I've started to say is, great, send me two current happy customers. I would like to talk to them over the phone.
hmm.
And if you can't send me that, then I don't believe you,
Yeah.
because it's
Sure.
very easy to tell me you will promise my company the moon and stars. But
Yeah.
if you don't have two people willing to speak on your behalf, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
one woman last week tried to tell me that because they have trust pilot reviews, that was good enough. And I'm like, no, I told you what I needed. And
I told you what
like
I'm
I can
expecting
make
right now.
17 trust pilot. Like I can do it right now. Do you want me to write you a 5-star
Yeah.
review, lady? I barely know. Yeah, it's just so yeah, I think, this is probably the excitement and hyper focus that comes from
Hmm.
ADHD moving too quickly. So I think perhaps more than gendered stuff, it's more like
Hmm.
putting little rules in place that help
Hmm.
save me and slow me down. So, okay, well,
Sure.
that was a beautiful sales pitch, and that brochure was fantastic. And I think
Right.
this or that thing could push the company into the stratosphere, and that would be
Right.
amazing. What's the proof? Why do I think
Mm.
that? I have an amazing designer I could hire to make a beautiful brochure for that
Right.
exact thing
Right.
right now, but that doesn't mean I
Right.
can do it. So
Sure. Sure.
thinking that the folks doing the advertising for the product and the product itself could be two completely different companies.
Hmm.
That's been a real eye opener in the
Right.
last
My
month.
my audience is 85, like it fluctuates between 85 to 88% people who identify as female. That's my own, like I've never really been on like the male side of social media, right? It's been mostly people that identify as female, and I know a lot of them, tons of them, run businesses, and either they run like a small business, or they're in very important positions at their job, whatever it may be. For any of them that are listening right now that might be struggling with running a business, um, what words of encouragement would you say to them right now based upon your experiences running a business?
I'd say you're probably better at a lot of stuff than you believe. When
Mm,
you're really good at something, it's very easy, especially as women trained in our culture to make ourselves small.
mm,
So trust that you're probably better at the thing that you do than other people could imagine. Some people I've met are extraordinary at something like sewing or making jewelry, and they're like, oh, but I couldn't possibly charge. And I'm like, I
mm.
can't do that. You don't understand the paintings, the maybe you run a business renting out heavy equipment, but
Right,
I couldn't begin to imagine what that might be like. So believe that you can do some stuff really well.
right.
Also believe that there are chunks of the business that you're going to need to hire out. You
Mm,
cannot be good at everything. And I've helped a lot of women in small business, get going or refine. And one of the big things I hear is, oh, but I couldn't possibly afford an assistant yet.
mm.
Honey, you can. and
Mm,
you are losing money because you don't have one. The reason people think they can't afford an assistant is they are thinking about 40 hours a week. Any
mm,
assistance you need, whether that's like a personal assistant or somebody to help with the books or somebody to help you make the product or package the product,
mm-hmm,
whatever you do, look to the women. There is
mm-hmm,
a incredible group of women moms out there that are brilliant, who would love to work, but you know what, maybe this year they can work 10 hours a week. Well,
mm,
guess what, you can afford 10 hours a week. And these
right.
are people that are smart and capable and maybe bored and want to get out of the house. And
Mm-hmm,
then as your business grows, as their childcare needs change, perhaps with school,
right,
they're more and more available. And that's largely what happened here. Quite a few of our core folks here are moms
right.
that no one would give a chance because they couldn't do 40 straight out the gate because they didn't have that flexibility. You know what? Kid sick needs to be picked up right now. There's no option. If they can't leave there, then they have to be at home 100% of the
Mm-hmm,
time. And that just seems like a waste of human potential to me.
mm, mm-hmm,
So
right.
there's probably a mom nearby who would love to help you package product 1 hour a day or
Mm,
2 hours once a week. The the flexibility and the ability, yeah, it just makes me so happy to think that we can all help each other,
right,
and grow these systems together in ways that support everybody.
right. One of the most exciting things about running a small business, or a business in general, but specifically small businesses, is when you get those like moments where you're just really proud of yourself and your company and the growth and all that. Can you think of any time where you were just like, I am proud. I am so proud of this company. I'm so proud of what I do here.
Honestly, I'm proud of the team every day.
Mm,
Um, I think that one of the big things, like last month, I got real sick for like a weekend.
mm-hmm,
I couldn't, it was so fun because when it happens, like,
mm-hmm.
is it COVID? Is it not COVID? I just ran
Right,
out of
right,
tests. I finally got those
right.
replaced, but I was like, well, I'm not
Yeah.
leaving the house because I'm too sick to do anything.
Right,
And I'm not going in to work because I'm not exposing anybody. And
right.
I was messaging Shannon, like, hey, so I'm that kind of sick again where I can't make any decisions. So ignore me if I ask you questions where you're like, we have this answer. What are you doing?
Right, right.
And I thought, it's okay. I can just be sick. The team has got me and I've got them. And of course they can handle a few days without me. And if they
Mm-hmm,
can't, I've set it up wrong. Then if something breaks, that'll be great information.
mm-hmm.
And we'll take that and make sure that they have the resources they need to do this without me
Right,
on 100% of the
right, right. Is it ever scary running a business? Like how often do you sit there and you're like, I am frightened right now?
time. You know, I think that women, small business, and fear are very common,
Yeah.
but every human is different. Women have different experiences. I was raised by a woman running her own business, and I have run my own businesses since I was 18. So my personal experience is like, you look at what your parents do and you think, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's normal.
Right.
So for me, the challenges felt like the stuff I talked about at the dinner table growing up.
Mm,
So I don't have fears that way. I have, um, I think the stuff that makes me the most anxious is stuff that's just going to take time to
mm-hmm,
address. Things like, okay, well, how do we get to the next stage? I want to be
mm-hmm.
way bigger because I want to help other indie businesses. How to rephrase it? Hi, ADHD. I hope ADHD folks listening are like, ah, that brain, that's so familiar. Um, I said, I'm not, other indies are not my competition. My
Right.
competition is Sephora. I
Mm,
want customers to come to an indie, all sorts of indie brands, and I want it to be
mm-hmm.
just as effortless to shop from us as it is to
Right.
go on Amazon, on Sephora. So that's why I started the indie marketplace on my site. I have
Mm-hmm.
often said, everyone is a better perfumer than me. I'm just louder. But I would go to some of my sweet fellow indie sites, and
Hmm.
they're not into the tech. And so some of their sites were really hard to buy from. It was
Hmm.
like, oh, here's your item, but then you got to go over here and you got to look at the
Hmm.
list, and then you got to go over there and you got to write it down when you're checking out. It's a
Right.
lot.
Right.
Um, so the indie marketplace, I was like, well, what if I carry a whole bunch of sample packs from other indies so
Mm.
that, whether that's perfume, soap, candles, interesting things, generally women owned. Um, so the concept was, well, folks can come onto the marketplace, find their next true love, and then that if the site's a little tricky to navigate, if they love a thing, people will totally do it. It's just a
Right.
tricky
Right.
first, like, ooh.
Right.
So we link to every single shop on the site, and we also quite a bit in the different listings say, hey, listen, just go straight to her. Like, you don't
Right.
need to buy from us unless you want to try a whole bunch of indies at once.
Right.
Um, so we really try
Right.
to push that traffic back to the indie shop owners.
Right. What's next for Sucreabeille?
Well,
What's
Volcano
next for
Layer
you?
was on the list. No, I used to say I'll know I have reached my level of success when we've got a forklift. That would be amazing. I don't I
That's a
think that
good
my
goal.
right, I mean, just the beeping alone, like who doesn't
Yeah.
want to have that
That means you
backup
made
sound?
it. That means you made it.
Right, right, right. I want to like when, or, well, we kind of we hit a similar goal.
Mhm.
We're way rural out here, and everything's made. We've got a normal size house I put the
Yeah.
company in, and a big shop. And because of our volume, especially around this time of year in the holiday
Hmm.
months, we're the reason our rural route has a USPS truck. It
Right.
was a guy
That's so
driving
funny.
his Subaru for years, and he's the
Yeah.
sweetest older gentleman. We just love him. He'd have to come twice because we'd fill up his Subaru Outback and
Wow.
he'd have to come back again. So like he begged, and we like wrote letters.
Yeah.
Remember, maybe because we know our local postmaster because it's just a
Right.
tiny, tiny
Right.
post office. And so yeah, they eventually bought a one of those classic boxy white
Hmm.
USPS vans for
Yeah.
him because
That's
he
amazing.
had it with our nonsense. Um, so yeah, I
That's
guess
amazing.
I'm attracted to like heavy equipment. Sure sounds like fun, but I wanna be able to use the like some of the stuff in perfumery is so expensive. We do
Mm,
use rose absolute here, vanilla absolute, some of these things. Oh God, there's a comma in the price for an ounce.
mm, hmm.
It boggles the mind. And I would
Yeah.
love to be able to have a full complement of all of those extraordinary chemicals and
Yeah.
ingredients from all over the world. And
Yeah.
that would be that would be tremendous.
Right, right. That's amazing. And like like I said before, everything like, and I'm not just saying that as like a quote spokesperson. I actually mean it. It actually smells really good. It actually smells
I
really,
think
really
you're
good. And like
you're
I'm
our only spokesman. I think everyone else is a spokeswoman. So congratulations, you're an
I feel so
iconoclast.
honored. No, I really do feel honored. Especially because like like I said, my audience is 85, between 85 88% on all of my platforms, not just on Instagram, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. All of those platforms are in the 80% when it comes to people that identify as female. So I know that they appreciate this. And I know that the people that don't know who you are, that are learning about you right now, are 100% going to go check this out, because my friends listening, women owned, cruelty free, like we're talking about the real deal here. And like I wrote a blog about this recently, about supporting small businesses, especially this holiday season. I think is truly vital. And I cannot push enough for people to support small businesses. And so what I want to do, Andrea, if you don't mind, during like in this last section here, do you mind talking about your holiday season, what you're offering, people, in for the end of November and through December?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
We have some really cool stuff coming, dropping, gosh, next week. at the start of December that I'm not allowed to talk about. But right now and through the end of December, we do have our perfume advent calendar. It's 13 days of individually wrapped perfumes sold in a size called a dram.
Ooh.
That is 3.7 mils. So it's a, well, this doesn't help
Yeah.
them at all, does it? We're on video. I'm holding my fingers
Well,
about
some
an
people
inch
will see it.
apart. I don't.
The
Oh,
people on
okay,
YouTube
okay.
will see it. Yeah.
Sweet, sweet, good. Hi. So it's a nice amount. It has an open top, so you can apply it directly on your skin, no dropper.
Yeah.
And it's all a mystery what we put in there. And
Yeah.
there's quite a few unreleased scents this year. So that's terribly exciting. We just introduced fizzing bath salts we haven't had before and body
Ooh.
mists. They're really fun. We have a holiday collection that stars Krampus, but also Persia, Belsnickel, Yule Cat. We looked at a lot of
Amazing.
yeah, we looked at a lot of legends from around the world that
Yeah.
people bring out around the holidays.
Hmm.
There's also I think one of my favorites is our what we call the winter collection, and that's
Yeah.
Winter Deep, Heartwood, Whispering Black, a lot of things
Yeah.
that reminded me of cold, and all of those labels are done like stained glass.
That's
And that makes me
amazing.
super
Yes.
happy.
Absolutely. And for anybody that's like, okay, I'm sold. I want to check this place out. I'm going to include the link to
Because you
Sucreabeille.
can't
I'm
spell
going
it
to
either. It's terrible.
you know, I've typed it so many times. I actually do know how to spell it now. Like I know it by heart because I've
There's
typed
an
it so many
I.
times.
Why is there an I? Damn it,
Because
France.
French, hashtag France. Um,
Mm.
but I'm going to include the link to the website. Purchase something. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. It's really really good. Now is the perfect time. Get those stocking stuffers for the holiday season, because like this is a good place to shop. And Andrea, thank you so much. You're amazing. I appreciate you taking the time to
Thanks
like
for
sit and
having
chat with
me.
me today. Oh my god, of course. It's my absolute pleasure. Like I said, I'm gonna include all of the links down in the description of this podcast. Thank you for hanging out with the pod today. Like honestly, your journey in this world, especially from the ADHD standpoint, like it truly is inspiring when I
Oh,
meet other
I'm confused
ADHD.
too.
Whenever I meet other ADHD people that are doing great like things like you are, like I'm just like, okay, I'm inspired. I'm inspired. So like thank you for inspiring me. I'm sure you're inspiring others as well. To the
Well,
listeners
you
out
inspire
there,
me too.
oh, thank you. Oh my God, I'm such a loser, but thank you. I appreciate it. To all the listeners and the viewers out there, remember that every purchase you make is a vote for the kind of world that you want to live in. So head over to sucreabeille.com and explore the unique fragrances that Andrea and her team have lovingly created. Let's support small business. Let's support women-owned businesses. Let's make a positive impact this holiday season, 1 cent at a time. And I mean that sense as in
Aw,
like money sense and sense, because I'm clever and you make sense
that was clever.
and sense. You see what I'm doing here? You see what I did?
I don't
This
know.
is
Could you
what
say it again slower? I don't.
I don't know if I could. Oh my god. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and for watching. As always, much love, good vibes, and I will talk to you later. Bye. See you later.